Welcome back to Talking Lead. This is episode 28, and we are in the Talking Lead sweat box tonight. It's a little warm.
I know a good HVAC guy for you, buddy.
Yeah, I need to talk to him.
We need to get him in the studio.
We're finally having the most requested show that we've had requested, and this is going to be
the most requested that we've had requested?
Most requested that we've had requested? It works.
This is the most requested?
Yeah, most requested show. It's going to be our reloading show. So we want to say thanks to our sponsors, Firearms Radio Network. They are bandwidth sponsors, firearmsradio.tv.
Holder and Green Professional Real Estate Services, HG Press, for all your real estate needs in the Middle Tennessee area. Call 1-800-615-1840, extension 2222.
Also, All or Nothing Tattoo Studio in Atlanta, Georgia. The most awarded, awesome, great group of artists down there. It's allornothingtattoo.com and their gun-friendly artwork, also their t-shirts and stuff at their gear store, strangleholdmerch.com. And also TG Promotions, they put together a store. If you need any of your business promotion stuff done, it's tgpromotions.net.
Go to our website, Talking Lead, and go to our store, talkingled.com. Go to our store, and we've got some new merchandise posted there for you guys, some awesome shirts and some different hats. Check them out. Talking Lead hat would make a good birthday present.
So what'd you do with guns this week?
Well, what did we do with guns? We went to the Murfreesboro Gun Show this week.
That didn't sound good.
We graced the Murfreesboro Gun Show with our presence. But it was fun. I had a good time. We met a lot of people, made some great contacts, even had some lead heads that were there.
Yeah, give a shout out to Brian, the stonemason from here in Middle Tennessee.
Came
up and said hi to us.
And his son.
Great to meet you. Yeah, and his son.
Yeah.
It was great to meet you, man. I hope this show helps you get by on your stonemasonry work today.
We'd like to give a big thanks to Italian Gun Grease, who invited us out. Appreciate that. Mr. Gabriel Wren from Italian Gun Grease. Check them out.
Yeah, so you pretty much covered what I did with guns. That was the easiest what I did with guns this week ever.
Is that all you did?
Pretty much, gun-wise.
Yeah, because I had your guns, didn't I?
Yeah, we're recording on a different... Yeah, I couldn't do much of my favorite carry weapon since it was with someone else.
It's my new favorite.
I tell you what, when you carry the same gun for a long time...
You feel naked with that.
Yeah, like I tried carrying my revolvers as my primary, and it just felt
like your
weird.
Favorite pair of shoes.
Yeah.
When you get a new pair of shoes, it just don't feel right. But you've got it back now, so you can...
Well, this was going to be a surprise guest we had, but somebody decided to say on Facebook that it started with an H, and he was our first guest ever, so...
I don't understand why we need to make it a surprise.
I don't know.
Let people know, because it's pre-recorded. They need to know up front so we can get questions for the man.
Well, we got some questions.
We got a lot of questions.
Hickok45's back.
Hey, good to be here, guys.
And this time you don't sound like you're in a cave.
Yeah. It might not be. It might be dangerous if they actually hear what I say.
Yeah, did I ever tell you that we figured out that was my fault?
Well, it was intentional, probably, right?
I always knew it was your fault anyway.
I recorded that entire episode through the little bitty mic on our computer instead of switching to the line in port.
That was part of our learning curve.
Well, it's easier for me to hide that way if they couldn't hear me.
Now we get to hear that deep, very wide voice.
Yeah, now you got this great microphone and everything. I've got to think about what I say. It's not easy.
We still pre-record so we can edit.
Oh, good. Thanks. Please do that. Lots of it.
That's one of the benefits of recording.
What'd you do with guns this week?
Guns this week. Well, I also went to the Murfreesboro Gun Show, and I saw a couple of weirdos there at a booth right away. It looked like you two.
Oh, they were strange.
Yeah,
act like us.
Pretty cool. Surprised me. It was funny. I was riding down to Murfreesboro, which is about a 45-minute ride, I guess, for me, and I was actually catching up with your last episode and literally turned it off. Okay, went in, and I was going around to find the restroom, so I went around the long way in, and there you guys were all. It was weird. I was like Twilight Zone. I was just talking, and they're listening to you guys.
We jumped from the speakers.
You can't get away from
life.
Yeah, I didn't know you were going to be set up there. I'd never seen you at a gun show at least set up like that.
That was actually our first one.
Yeah.
Spur of the moment kind of deal.
But that was one thing I did. I spent a lot of time there. I ran into a lot of people there that are just old friends. Now, viewers too, which is great. But I also ran into, it must have been 7 or 8 different people, just old friends of mine, shooters, a former cop I used to ride with when I was a reserve deputy, just lots of people. Some guys I used to shoot competition with, so it was pretty neat. I was there at about 1 o'clock. Usually I'm in and out in about an hour and a half, but so it was like a big visitation day for me. And so that was fun. And I've hit several gun shops, of course, as I always do. Hit a couple on the way to the show here today,
Nice.
the Hidden Studios, and found some black powder. The saddle shops. Okay to mention the show or gun shops?
Yeah,
I don't know.
absolutely.
So give a big shout out to Tracy down there.
Yeah, man. I didn't know they had black powder, real black powder. There's like 2 places in Middle Tennessee you can buy it. Dixie Gun Works and that saddle shop. And went to the Nashville Armory, and everywhere I went, I heard stories about you guys, of course. But yeah,
tell the talking lead, don't ever come back here again. Or
yeah, that's right. Tracy said to say hi and sorry she hadn't got to hear the most recent broadcast or something like that. And then I know it's hard to believe, but I actually did a little shooting this week, and
I don't believe it.
Yeah, you really can't tell by the videos.
Guns?
Yeah, some days I do, because you never know when we did a video that we post. But shot, I tell you, the most shooting I did this week was actually with a firearm we haven't posted, and that was with the CZP09 that we have in as a T&E gun. It's a big duty pistol, holds 19 plus 1.
Wow.
So serious 9mm duty pistol. Shoots great. It's a double to single action. Not my favorite style,
Right.
but it shoots well. And we did a video with it.
19 plus.
Yeah, 19 plus 1. And
That's probably a good fit for your hand, though, because you got big hands.
it feels all right. Yeah, it feels okay. It's nothing that I could carry, concealed or anything.
Sure.
As a CCW. But we forget, I think, a lot of we get spoiled in this country and in Tennessee. We forget, that a lot of the world and part of our own country, even in some states, they're not really thinking concealed carry because
Right.
they can't. They're just thinking a good gun.
Right.
To have for maybe home defense, or for a good range gun. And I try to remember that. But anyway, did a lot of shooting with that and hit some gun shops and shot a couple other things I don't remember. I shoot pretty much. I know that's a surprise. But shop for guns.
What's your take on the ammo situation now? Are you starting to see more ammo out there? And
It's looking
available?
a little better. Yeah, it's loosening up some. It really is spotty. Depends on which gun shop you're in. As you notice, some shops are still depleted. However, some others will have some 9mm even, as you've probably noticed here and there if you go in at the right time.
yeah, I've seen a lot of 40. I really hadn't seen the 9. I think it's still getting sapped up pretty quick. Sop it up with a biscuit.
I think they're getting more of it in, though. They're getting more in. It's still going out the door quickly.
Yeah,
Right.
but it's still coming
They're
in.
getting more in, though, I think.
I was at Academy not this week, but it was last week, and they had a bunch of 9. They probably had 7 or 8 boxes left, and it was middle of the day.
Was
too.
it the defense rounds or was it target rounds?
No, they were critical duty.
Okay, yeah, I've
Yep.
been seeing the critical duty.
Yeah.
Oh,
I've
you're
been seeing
just
those. Yeah,
gotcha.
I'm just talking about target, I guess.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Mainly is
the
what I'm
range
looking for
ammo
right
is
now.
what's still hard to find.
Yeah.
I've noticed more and more of the critical duty, which is good ammo, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I've just
I
got
don't know
enough of
why
it.
people aren't scarfing it up to shoot at the range. What is it, buck a round or something or more?
Yeah, at least.
Good stuff. That's what
What's
I've been carrying lately in my my 9. I like that.
The duty?
Yeah. It feeds
duty?
anything. Yeah, the critical duty is it's 135 grain. I kind of like that. That's another topic, though.
Well, that's kind of what we're going to be talking about tonight, too.
Yeah,
So
different
we'll get
types of
into the different
rounds.
grains and things like that.
Yeah, you were saying something about bigger hands, and I was curious if you have the same thing with me. For some reason, I can shoot some smaller guns better than I can full-size guns.
Same here. I learned that a long time ago. And I was surprised when I was a reserve deputy. We had to qualify, a couple times a year, and I got to carry a little Glock 27 occasionally, or I
Right.
bought one 26, and so I had to qualify with it if I was going
Right.
to carry it as a backup. And I noticed my groups were actually tighter. These
Yeah.
were your standard, B29 paper target. We'd qualify on. Actually, were tighter with that 27. When I first got it, and so upon shooting it more and more, I realized, wow, they're great little guns, great
Yeah.
little shooters. Even little J-frames, it's just in how you hold it.
And it may
that-
help because of the wider fingers. I don't know what it is,
Yeah.
but somebody was telling me at the Armory the other day, they said, yeah, most of y'all big guys can shoot smaller guns than you can the full size. And I remembered shooting the 26, and I was shooting it better than my 19.
Well, the way on the Glock, especially the way the backstrap tucks into, if you have a large hand, it tucks in a perfect spot, I think, in
Gotcha.
your hand. Whereas
That
the
makes
bigger
sense.
Glocks, that hump hits me right there, which
Right.
is why I don't like it. But and also a lot of people don't like to shoot a little gun. They can't get their little pinky finger on the grip.
Mm-hmm.
However, as I maintain over and over, in some ways that's almost better because your little finger sometimes is what gets you in trouble. You're milking the grip, laterally.
Right. Well, we asked you the big 3, but we've added 2 questions since then.
A test already.
The first,
just to refresh, let's go ahead and do all of them. How about that? Just to refresh our listeners that maybe missed the
first one,
the first show. Yeah, let's
go back and listen to episode 4.
Yeah, because I probably don't remember what I said, and I may give a different answer. See,
oh, that would be cool.
That could be a trivia.
That'd be some good content right there.
You got to be a good liar. No, if you're going to be a good liar, you have to have good memory, right?
That's right. I don't know.
That's what they tell me.
But the 2 new ones are: is there one gun in your arsenal, which is probably really small from your videos? Yeah. Is there one gun that there's a little bitty part of you that is embarrassed to say you own that gun?
Oh man. Actually, that one's pretty easy, but it's not one I purchased, so I'm off the hook. It's a High Point
I know
pistol that you might recall from the video. I guess that was last summer. We had the YouTuber gathering with Tim from the Military Channel, Fate of Destiny, 22 Plinkster, 10 Outdoors 9. Not leave anybody out. John, of course, my son.
22 who?
Yeah, weirdo. Shoots 22s, nothing else but.
Oh, why would anybody do that?
I don't know. He's kind of funny. He's got a quirk about him. But after we had that, we had a little bit of a party that day and everything. And, of course, we were the hosts, so they were thinking they would do something nice for me. And I don't know how nice that was, but they signed a High Point pistol and gave it to me.
Signed it.
That's what makes it awesome, because he can't get rid of it now.
Yeah, what a prized possession. Yeah. Little do they know it will end up in a pawn shop somewhere. Don't tell anybody.
I don't know. Maybe a charity auction.
There you go.
That would be a good excuse.
It's ruined, though. It's got 22 Plinkster written on it.
You could save face. You could get rid of it at the same time and save face.
That's right.
It's like this box of ammo that he signed. I've been trying to give it away, and people say, no, we don't want that one.
That's right. You got one that hadn't been signed? Is that what they say?
I thought that was supposed to go to somebody.
No, not that one yet.
Yeah.
No, we're just kidding, Plinkster. We love you.
Yeah. No, we don't. Yeah.
We tolerate him, right?
That's right.
Yeah, exactly. And then the other one.
The other one is any gun out there that's available right now on your list, your want list. What is the top of your list?
Oh, man. Realistic want list or fantasy want list?
It could be fantasy, too. I mean, let's do both. Let's do fantasy, and then we'll do realistic.
Oh,
There's
okay.
so many, I know.
I have one. I was thinking I did not. Actually, I do. I am really, really fortunate that I do have a lot of firearms, and I've been able to get a hold of a lot of my favorite firearms. So I'm not walking around wishing I had a different gun normally. There is a firearm I would like to have, an 1861 Springfield, muzzle loading, rifle musket from the Civil War. Either a replica, which, you can get anytime, a good replica. Those suckers run around $1,000, get a good replica even. But I would really like to have an original, one that's and I've looked here and there. They're just hard to find where they're not $5,000 or $6,000.
Right.
But it'd be cool to find one that was shootable, but in pretty good shape. 58 caliber musket that was actually used, made in 1861, 62, and was probably used and still shootable. That'd be cool.
I bet you might be able to throw that out there and offer maybe some time on your range.
He'd have somebody show up the next day.
Yeah,
really. Here you go. Here's 2.
Yeah, I have to activate those automatic Uzis on the roof.
So what's the dream? The dream gun.
Oh, the dream gun? That might be it. I don't know. An MP5 would be nice.
A dream gun?
Dream gun?
Full auto?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. MP5 full auto.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I still want a minigun.
No, I don't really have. I don't have a desire for some things that other people do, like a minigun. I mean, it might be fun to touch one off sometime. But in terms of a gun that I actually have, I could walk out and shoot it, and a realistic firearm, maybe an MP5.
You don't like spending $1,000 in 10 seconds?
Yeah, that's the problem with that. Wow.
Go up to that range in Kentucky. What's it called?
Knob Creek.
Knob Creek.
Knob Creek. Yeah.
Yep.
Why can't I ever remember that? Knob Creek.
Get you a bottle of Knob Creek whiskey and just set it on the table so you'll remember.
Just pretend. Yeah.
Bourbon, I guess it is, right?
There's another question I came up with specifically for you being YouTube guy.
Okay.
Is there like a YouTube channel that when they release new videos, you are looking forward to watching?
I wish I could get around more than I do. Tim from the military channel, I usually catch his. I try to keep track of him.
That's Military Arms Channel?
Military Arms Channel.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And then beyond that, I just bounce around. I usually catch, Plinksters and 10 Outdoors 9. Again, partly I know them,
Right.
they're friends and everything. I like to keep up with what they're doing.
Well, it's fun to find stuff to make fun of them on, too.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's fun to make fun of them. You're right. I'd really look for specific guns more than, there are certain people I like what they do. I just, I'm so
Right.
busy managing what we're doing. When I get up in the morning, it's several hours just going through the mail.
Oh, I can imagine.
And comments in the mail and answering. And managing that, and then in a couple more hours, I got to get back to it because it's piled up again. So it's that kind of deal. I don't have time to just browse and load up videos and watch them most of the time.
How much mail would you say you get in any given day?
Well, counting the emails that come to me through comments, it's hundreds, 500 or 600. And then the messages that I am expected to answer, or I try to answer, in private messages, it's probably maybe 150, something like that.
So, Hickok, there's one more thing we want to talk about before we get into reloading, and we know we missed a birthday of yours here recently, but this is kind of some belated gifts we got for you.
Uh-oh.
Drum roll, please.
Uh-oh. A live female? What's this?
First of all, we got you a couple cigars. One, my favorite. Favorite? My favorite, which is the Tarano, and then the other one I got just because it's called an Uzi.
Can't be all bad. Well, thank you guys.
You were talking about Uzis earlier today.
I appreciate it.
And then one of these is actually for John, so make sure he gets it. These are both the network we're on, Firearms Radio Network. Just
all right. Okay.
Stick wherever you want, or
thank you. My forehead. Thank you.
yeah, there you go. And then
oh no,
the talking leg hat.
Cap. Oh,
Infamous.
That is the hat.
All right. Well, thank you.
The dreaded or happy hat, whatever.
That won't fit my dog. You got a smaller one? No, thank you.
That should fit your big melon.
Yeah, really.
Oh, wait.
I've got a big one.
There's more.
But it's camouflage, so nobody will see it.
This one, T and Outdoors 9 gave me a hard time about Zombie Max ammo.
Uh-huh.
And consistently gives me a hard time about it.
No, he's going to dump it off on you.
Yeah.
I see multiple posts
In guise of
from
a
him
present.
on Twitter and
So you're
Facebook.
regifting it. Huh?
No, what happened was he
just
scarred me emotionally, and I can't even have it in my house now. So, I figured I'd gift you some 40 caliber Z-Max ammo there.
Oh no, zombie rounds.
To utilize zombie
rounds.
These aren't hand load. These aren't 10 Outdoors 9 zombie
And
rounds.
then,
Those are
here's the purpose behind those, because we've got you some targets to shoot with those.
So we took a little break, and now we're back up, and I brought up the birthday targets for Hickok45, and T and Outdoors 9 gave us his
You didn't throw it up to the camera. Hold on.
Oh, gotcha. So T and Outdoors 9
Hold it up to the camera there, Hickok.
gave us his age, but
There you go, 48. See?
according to Hickok, 84 is not right. So
Yeah,
T and Outdoors 9, what gives?
Dyslexic 48.
So now you can take that Zombie Max ammo and you
shoot up the
can set those cupcakes up strategically on the range
And go to town.
blow them to heck.
Feed the birdies.
Have you shot cupcakes yet?
I don't think
I
we
hear they
have.
make a pretty good explosion. So
I don't
with a 40.
think we have. We'll have to check with John, see if we can get that on the agenda, on the recording schedule.
And all that stuff was actually not just from us. That was from us, T and Outdoors 9, and 22 Plinkster. When I said we got all this stuff, we all put it together.
That's you boys.
Those guys are sick, yeah. Just so happens I brought you guys gifts.
What?
Okay.
It's not even your birthday, right? Don't ask me
today.
why I brought you a gift.
We were joking about paying to be on the show.
You guys should have to pay me $10,000 to even sit here,
An
right?
hour, I know it.
Right? No, but since both of you are sort of converts, I brought Zeke. I brought you a magazine for your Glock 19, man.
Wow, nice.
Now that you got it back in your possession.
Yeah, now that I actually have
And
it.
I brought you one for your Sub 2000.
Wow, man.
Nice.
There you go,
Awesome.
man.
Thank you, Hickok.
I have a
Thanks,
couple
Hickok.
extras of
That
those,
is
so
awesome.
I thought I'd just pass those along.
That is very nice of you.
Everybody should have lots of magazines.
Yes.
They should.
Yeah.
Definitely.
You can never have too many magazines.
That was
so
very
now we
nice
need to
of you.
take these out on your range and
Try
use
'em out.
them.
Left hand is all about your range, isn't it?
They work.
I'm doing everything but inviting myself to your range.
Well, thanks for the cigars, guys. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
My
Yeah,
wife
I
will
think you'd
enjoy those. And, no, I will enjoy those.
Yeah, that Tarano I got before our wedding, I got some to give to my father-in-law and brother-in-law, and I love that thing ever since.
Yeah,
Just went to the cigar shop in Nashville. He recommended it to me, and it's a really good cigar. I know nothing about the Uzi except for it says my Uzi weighs a ton.
Oh, really?
So that's all I know about it.
Yeah, can't be bad. Anything called Uzi.
If it
Exactly.
explodes, it's not my fault.
Yeah. I'll
Swear to
check
God.
it for
Then they have
cigar
little
loads.
caps.
Booby
Check
trap.
it for gunpowder.
Hoorah, Semper Fi, do or die, hold 'em high at 8th and I. It is time for the Talking Lead Jack Wagon of the Week, so brace yourself, baby.
So our Jack Wagon of the Week this week was just going to be one, but I read something today that I'm going to add the other one to. You want to take that first one?
Yeah, there was an app created that people can go, and I think it's free. I don't think it
It
costs
is free. I
anything.
actually downloaded it just to see what it was all about, see if I was on there.
You're on there. I looked you up.
I'm not.
Yeah, you are.
Am I really?
Yeah, I looked you up. I'm on there too.
No.
Yep, I am. But what it
Great.
is it's an app to where you can download it to your phone. Anybody can do this, and they can look up anybody in the United States who has a gun license to carry. They're calling it the irresponsible gun owners.
What it is basically you
So-
can go on the app and it's for anti-gun people. So if they drive by, if they know where Hickok45 lives, and they drive by his house and pull up the map, they can go irresponsible gun owner, and all of a sudden it's in that app for good. And if anybody's driving around and sees it, they're gonna be like, a irresponsible gun owner lives right there. So the people populate it by saying,
Well, maybe I'm getting
Here,
these
here,
apps
here.
confused because the
Yeah.
one that I was looking at was there's a website you can go to. You can put in the person's name, and it will tell you,
oh no,
Whether
that's
they-
another one. That's the one that Arson Tony was talking about.
yeah.
Yeah, that's another one. But this
Okay,
one,
this is that one.
This
Yeah.
one's different. University of California lecturer Brett Stahlbaum released it. Do you want to say the name of it?
Of the
Well, actually, I think it'd be good to say
gun
the name of it.
marker. Yeah, I
That
mean, we
way,
need
if
to
you
have
find out
people-
you're on there, you can kind of combat this. But it's called Gun Geo Marker is the name of the app, and it's pretty pathetic. So
What this is doing is this is giving access not only to the gun grabbers, which is the least of our worries, it's giving criminals access to where they can go and get guns now.
Well-
this is so irresponsible of these jackwagons
Right.
to be posting this kind of
Well,
information.
not only that, anybody can do it to anybody. So if you're ticked
They-
off at somebody on the
yeah,
corner, they may
right.
not even own a
They
gun.
don't
but you can
verify
go,
the
"Oh,
data."
Irresponsible gun owner.
Yeah.
It's pretty pathetic. So Brett Stahlbaum, you're a jackwagon for releasing this thing. And then the other one, this one I got to preface because I don't want anybody to think that we're saying anything that is anti-gay at all. But what I am frustrated with and ticked off about,
Easy trigger. Where are you going with this?
you'll hear, Lady Gaga last weekend.
Lady Gaga.
She took our national anthem, and at the end, land of the free and the home of the brave, she said, home for the gays. I'm not saying anything about
That's not the national
homosexuality.
anthem, though.
I'm not saying anything about the thing. It ticks me off when I hear people at an Atlanta game and the home of the Braves. That ticks me off. It's our national anthem. You don't change it.
Right.
No matter
It
what
is
you
what it
change
is.
it to.
Wow.
It has nothing to do with the content of what she changed it to. It has to do with that's our national anthem. You do not change it. So, Lady Gaga,
You're jackwagon.
I was wondering when it was going to happen, but you're now on the jackwagon train.
But you love pop culture. Oh, you're exactly right. If you're a friend
My
of the
phone.
Second Amendment, you're a friend of ours. Really.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
You know who you are. If you're supporting the Bill of Rights, you're a buddy of mine.
Absolutely. Second Amendment is
Well
where we're
said,
at.
birthday boy.
Thank you. My mic works this week. I gotta think before I speak.
This week, the subject matter is reloading. We've had a lot of people requesting this. We even had a guy that gave us a 4-star review on
Or
iTunes.
hand loading,
Hand loading, whatever you want to call
a.k.a.
it.
hand loading.
He gave us a 4-star review, said he'd give us a 5-star if we actually have that reloading show.
We'll be watching to see if that happens.
Yeah, I'm going to watch that thing. I don't remember
We
your
may
name,
drop
but
to
I'm going
a
to
3.
watch.
It puts a lot of pressure on me, right?
Yeah.
Well, you are the
Quote unquote expert. But one thing we're not going to do is we're not going to talk about types of loads, different things that could feasibly get us into a mess of...
Oh, hell, you never know what we're going to talk about. Well, it's going to be a responsible show.
Yeah. So this is going to be more on the machines, getting started, different types of actual bullets you can put in the cartridge, cost savings, etc.
But do you know the history behind hand loading, Hickok?
Now, there you go, asking right off the bat something I don't know.
Something you don't know. Well, I think it goes back to...
It goes way back.
One of your videos of where, the press and everything was the actual gun, and, everything was loaded in the gun.
Yeah, you could argue that I guess first
Muskets.
reloaders were anybody who had a percussion revolver. I don't think any of the flintlock revolvers, had. Well, no, they didn't because there were no real flintlock revolvers. That was pretty stupid, wasn't it? But none of the it wasn't until we actually had revolvers, that they started putting the lever under the barrel and being able to reload, that way. So yeah, anybody who fired, owned, and shot a percussion revolver like an 1851 Navy.
What even goes
Walker
prior
Colt.
to that with those big blunder, what are they called, blunderbusses? Or
Well, yeah, you could argue anything that fired a bullet, a muzzle loader, you're kind of reloading.
Put powder in and light it,
Yeah, your cartridge, you don't have a cartridge case, your chamber is your case, pretty much.
Right.
So you're putting powder in and maybe some wadding of some sort, and then nails or shot or a ball, glass or something. So you're kind of reloading that. Yeah, that would be the earliest points, I guess.
Yeah.
And then even the early cartridges, I know cowboys, people, they would recharge them on the trail, with hand tools. Mm-hmm. And I think Lee still makes a lot of that kind of stuff to where you can do one at a time even without a press. It's hard, but you can, get one done. But I've not done that much. I started out with a single stage press.
We're going to talk about modern day.
Yeah.
Reloading.
So speaking of single stage, what's the difference between the single stage and the progressive presses?
Okay, the single stage is what I started out on in 1974. I guess it was 73 or 74, and that's where you just have one die goes into it at a time, and you generally, in terms of the way the operation works, I would get around 100 rounds, sometimes 200. I think most people probably did lots of 50, but I've always been a volume shooter, even when I was using a single stage press. So you get all your brass there stacked, standing on the table. You got generally, if it's already been fired, you put in your die to decap that brass. So you got it screwed into the press, okay? So you put each case in, push the lever down, it pushes it up, and it decaps the case and maybe bells the mouth too. So then you take that one out, set it down, get another one, put it on the press, and do the same thing with it. So you're doing each thing, one at a time. And so you do all 50 or all 100 of those cases. You decap each one of them. And then you take that die out, put another die in, and then you either bell the mouth or you resize it. First thing you do actually is resize. The first stage, it's been so long since I've done it, is resize it and decap it. Take the old primer out. Yeah, and then you bell the mouth, and then you put each one in individually again and put powder in it and set it back down. That's one reason you see the little loading trays. Mm-hmm. I never did use them. I was just careful and set them on the table. But there's little loading trays. Once you get powder in it, you set it down in that, and it's not likely to turn over.
Knock it over.
Gotcha. But so that's single stage. And then when it's time to seat the bullet, you got powder in all those cases. Okay, start over, put the seating die in and set that thing on there, put the bullet on it, seat the bullet, and it's ready to go. Of course, we primed it too in one of those steps. So put it in the bin, it's ready to shoot. But you got to go through each round the same way. And with progressive presses, there's a couple of different kinds. And now I'm a Dillon guy. I've had Lee progressives, and now I've had Dillon for about 20 years. I know that Hornady and most of the major companies make some sort of RCBS, some sort of progressive press. Some of them, I don't know if they're still anything like that or not, where they're kind of a single stage, but you turn the top turret to the next die. All the dies are there, and you just change the dies around. That's a little different, but generally your progressive, your automatic press involves, you got all those stations set up. Your first die is going to resize it and decap it at this point, and then at the next stage as it revolves around, it's going to bell the mouth and actually put the powder in, okay? And then the next step is where you're going to, what are you doing? Seating the bullet. And of course the primer at the first step. But it's doing every time you pull the handle, you're doing all those things.
What do you mean when you say seating?
Seating the bullet is when you set the bullet on the case and seats it to the proper depth. I mean, you got all the dies are set. It takes a little while to get that set up. Looks
I know
complicated.
nothing about reloading, so
You know.
this is going to be very educational. for me.
Without the visual, of course, and we've got a few
if we talk
videos
about
on it.
visual, you've got videos.
Yeah, we got a few videos on it. I haven't done it extensively. As I said over and over, don't really have time to be the reloading guru. It's a hobby and a big endeavor in and of itself.
I would think
and
somebody's
it's fun.
been doing it since 1974. You
it's
probably
fun.
consider yourself a guru.
Yeah, well, in terms of answering questions all day about it, I couldn't do the other things we do, but
Right.
because there's so much. It's not that hard, but then again, there's a lot to it. But the progressive, the cool thing about it is every time you pull the handle, you have a round once you get it going. And all your dies are already set, to decap and charge, decay, seat the bullet, and all that kind of thing. So every time it turns on its own, or the 550Bs I use, the Dillons, you actually index it with your hand, which I prefer. I have more control over it. But a lot of the 650 Dillon and some of the other presses actually index themselves. But once you get all the dies set, those work fine too. And they're not as complicated as they appear. I always point out, if you're a bull in a china shop kind of person, maybe you shouldn't get into reloading. But if you
I'm not going to reload.
but if you have the capacity, to be careful, and if you're messing with guns, hopefully you have that capacity to be safe and be thoughtful and be deliberate. Then just take your time, and you can, even with a progressive. It's not out of the question to actually start out with a progressive.
Right.
It really is not, particularly with pistol rounds, as long as you're careful and you get everything set and you know your limitations. And if you ever think something wasn't exactly right, you check that round, you back up. I have a box I usually keep. If I even have a shadow of a doubt that something might have gone wrong, or that I'm not sure powder went into that, I'm not sure that worked, that round comes out and it goes into my test box, or a box where I pull the bullet. But once you get cranking, you just don't have much of that. Now, for rifle rounds, if you're a precision shooter, let me say that. If you your thing is going to the range and shooting at 200-300 yards and trying to get the tightest groups you possibly can get, with your, whatever it is, your 6mm or your 308, whatever, you're that kind of guy. You're really nerdy about that, man. You're not getting an inch group at 200 yards. You want to cry. If you're that kind of person, and people listening will know that. That's what they're thinking probably. I don't want any part of a progressive. But there's two schools of thought on that too. Once you get your die set and you get your some powder that meters well and everything, it's not like it's going to be inaccurate even in a rifle.
Right.
So you're kind of getting into this question is, why reload? Why would somebody want to get into reloading? Well, why should they get into reloading?
I'll tell you, those people I'm just talking about, one reason they get into it is to generally get more accuracy, because they're in total control of their load. They can weigh it out. If you are that person that's trying to get an inch group at 1,000 yards or whatever, those people will sort their brass. They'll make sure every piece of brass, they'll weigh their brass. They'll sort it, they'll measure it. And the powder, they make sure they're using the same lot of powder, and the bullets, and you're basically doing a better job than the factory, because you're hands-on with every little thing. You can be as anal about it as you want to be, see, where they don't necessarily do that at the factory. So you could actually put together some more accurate ammo. That way you really can. But, of course, the main reason people get into reloading, probably most people, is to save a little money.
Right.
Gotcha.
And this is, several of our listeners have posted this, what are the cost savings really? What are you looking at, as far as cost wise? And I'm sure it depends on what you're reloading too, doesn't it?
Oh, it does. It definitely does. And of course, the old joke is you won't save anything because you'll shoot a lot more. And that's really the truth. That's the truth. You'll just load more ammo and shoot more, and if anything, it'll cost you more. But now per round, it won't. Okay. Generally speaking, I think the figure most people throw around is, in general, with pistol ammo at least, if you're reloading and you've got your brass, you're saving your brass. You're not buying brass and everything.
Right.
You save around 50% on it, basically. That's kind of a ballpark figure, and it depends on the caliber and what you're loading. Whether you're buying full metal jacket bullets, what you're having to pay for them, or you're loading cast bullets. Cast bullets tend to be a little bit less. Of course, if you're casting your own bullets, you're saving a ton, because your bullet is a huge expense.
Talk about what casting is.
Yeah, casting is just taking lead, melting it, and using molds. I've done that.
Right.
I've done it with black powder balls and with 44 caliber bullets, 357 bullet. I haven't done that in a long time. It's very time consuming, and if you shoot a lot, you wouldn't really have time to do both.
Right.
And there are more people casting bullets now. You can go anywhere online and find bullets already cast, cast bullets made, lead bullets.
Right.
And, for example, I bought some bullets at the gun show where I ran into you characters. I found some 147 grain 9mm bullets, which is my favorite to load for plinking. I used to use that load weight bullet in competition a lot, and hard to find. They're plated bullets, but I paid $69, I think it was, for 500. I bought 3 boxes. So you got to figure your cost. I have a little spreadsheet I can run, and anybody can do that. If you know anything else, we can use a calculator. But for example, I think that's what I've got in there. Yeah.
And for those of you that are new to firearms, the bullet is just the metal projectile that comes out of the cartridge. That's not the full cartridge. So don't think he got a bunch of, he got 500 rounds for $65.
That's right. That's right.
It's actually just the metal projectile that comes out of the
That's
just
the bullet.
Yeah, to be technically correct, when someone says bullet, that's what they're talking or should be talking about.
Right.
We tend to use in the business, we tend to say bullet heads sometimes to make it more clear. But just the bullet, the projectile.
Just to differentiate.
Yeah. So for 1,000 of those, for example, I paid about $150 with tax and everything. And so on my little spreadsheet, I can put that in, and I always figure per 1,000. And so anybody can do this, of course. Just figure out whatever you're paying for your components, whatever you're paying for your bullets. What are you paying for 1,000 of them? And then primers come in generally a box of 1,000. I think they're running about $40 now. I haven't bought any for so long because I had some. So I got about 150 in those 1,000 bullets. I got say $40 and 1,000 primers. Powder, generally speaking, a pound of powder will load. This is really a rough ballpark, but about 1,000 rounds, depending on how many grains per load. Like if you're using, there's 7,000 grains in a pound of powder. So say you're using 7 grains per round, that'd be 1,000 rounds you get out of that. But you're not using that much powder. It depends on the bullet and what you're doing. But anyway, it gives you a ballpark. Pound of powder is running between $20-$25 if you're not buying in big bulk and big canisters. So I just plugged in $25 there. To load those 9s, I bought Saturday. I've got 150 in the 1,000 bullets. I got $40, let's say, in the primers, 25 in the powder that I'll use. And that means those are going to cost me, and I've got brass, 22 cents per round is what those will cost me. And here it says on the spreadsheet, and I know my formulas are correct. So per box is $10.75. Per 1,000 is $2.15. Now, $10.75. About 2-3 years ago, when you could find 9mm in a lot of places for about that price, you'd have to ask yourself, should I even reload? And a lot of people were not reloading 9mm for that reason.
You go to Walmart, get your target ammo for
you could almost buy
$9.99.
Of course, the bullets weren't quite as high either because all the components and everything has gone up. So you could probably at that time have reloaded them for maybe $7.50 or $8, and then you might have found them.
That's true, yeah.
Yeah, so
all your reloading stuff.
It's all gone up, and it depends on your sources and what kind of bulk you buy things in. I've always bought things in large bulk whenever I could. I bought like 5. When I order cast bullets, I order them like 5,000 of them, usually from Oregon Trail or somebody.
Now, you were talking about different powders that you get. I've heard that different ones are better than others. Like there's some that are actual solid cylinders, and then there's some that are flakes. And
there are a lot of different. And I definitely not an expert in all that. Some powders are more flaky. It depends on whether it's a rifle powder, whether it's a fast burning powder, a slow burning powder.
It gets in depth.
Smokeless powder. Now you got basically 2 giant categories. Black powder and then smokeless powder. And there are literally probably thousands of different brands and types of smokeless powder. Some of it's very fast burning. For example, for the sake of your listeners, who are not familiar with this at all. There are some powders, like when I started loading 45 ACP back in about 74, I used Bullseye, which was very popular, Bullseye powder. And it only took about, I think it was like 3 grains or something was a standard load. It was a very small amount of powder in that 45 case. You could almost look in the case and not see the powder.
Wow.
So you had to be really careful, not to if you double charged, you might not even know it, so you had to be really careful. Just a little tip, what I like to do, you're going to be really careful. Your powder measures are going to be set, all that, but still, it takes a little bit of that risk out of it if you're using a powder where a double charge would take it right to the top of the case or run over or something you would obviously see.
Right.
You think about that. Because double charge, you're not going to do a charge and a half.
Right.
You're not going to do a charge and a quarter. Let's think about the way the presses work.
Gotcha.
If you make a big mistake there, you're going to have no powder in it, or you're going to do a double charge, most likely. And it's always cool if that double charge spills over.
And you can visually see it.
Yeah,
That's nice.
But then again, you want to use a powder that you like and that you can get and that is recommended maybe for the caliber. Just be careful.
Talk about what
yeah.
all you need, like the bullets, the primers, the brass, the powder, the press.
I don't have a list, but up front, I would say if you go to some of the websites like Lyman, Dillon, Lee, Hornady, RCBS, there's great information there. And also in terms of loads. You can, I've got old manuals I use, but you can buy, Lyman really are famous for their reloading manuals, but most of the powder companies, if not all of them, they have this information online now. If you look up Accurate Arms powder, which I use, whatever it is, Hercules, Unique, or Alliant powders, online they'll have the recommended loads by bullet type and bullet weight. It gives you generally a starting load and a maximum load and that sort of thing. So the information's out there.
All the measurements and
you can never just say, let's use a little of this and a little of that.
Boom.
I was on Bass Pro Shops today. On their website, looking up some of the reloading equipment, and some of them, Lyman, Hornady, and RCBS, I think even Dillon, they have starter kits, and the majority of those have starter kits that come with the book.
Yeah,
that tells you all the different weights and loads and what all you're supposed to do.
And that's a question I get quite a bit when I do get a reloading question, and it's I just again don't have time. Maybe I could do a video on that, but is what do you need to get started?
Yeah,
just a quick rundown. I leave stuff out, but you need your dies. You need your press, of course, whatever press you're going to use, but the dies for the caliber.
Right.
And when you order a press, obviously you're going to order the die set with it. Then you need, there's a lot of little things that are nice to have, like a powder trickler. You want a powder measure of some kind. A lot of people use the electronic powder measures now. I'm still using the old balance beam style. I've had since '74. It works fine. And something to measure with it.
It's your balance of justice.
Yeah, really.
And for the cap, there's a little thing that you use for your primers.
There'll be something with the press.
Some kind of little tool that you use.
Flip them over.
Yeah,
those are handy.
And then that little thing that you.
Yeah, primer tray. I've got 2 or 3 of those.
Primer tray, and then that.
You just get them in there, and then the sticks. It depends on what kind of system you're using. Yeah,
right.
Your primer tubes.
Primer tube.
And then of course primers, bullets, powder, and there's not a lot of extra things really. Your press.
It sounds like you're going to have a chunk of change to get started.
Well, some of these kits that I saw, they were ranging just the press, one set of dies, the book, all the different accessories for the press itself. We're running anywhere from $300 to $600 and $700 for a full startup kit. But then you're not getting the powder or the bullets or the brass or any of the other stuff.
I mean, you're gonna start off with a curve where there's going to be a point to where when you start off it's going to be more expensive, but then with 50% on average savings.
Right.
It's going to pay for itself.
It will.
Especially if you've been doing it since 1974, huh?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. I've loaded thousands. And plus, it's a hobby. You really, once you get into it,
kind of an art form,
you won't look at it as what you're saving. Really, I don't even think about that. It's another endeavor in the shooting world that's fun. It really is. Yeah. It's very enjoyable. It's very rewarding. I know people that reload, they'll tell you, I just soon almost reload as shoot. I mean, really, it's just there's something really satisfying about it, and assembling your own ammunition.
Creating.
It's kind of like every time we have him on, we get into these firearm zen moments. Last time it was like we clean our guns, and that's our zen moment. Now it's like reloading could be that for us.
Yeah. Now, you can get in cheap. It's like everything else, and it would be best to study it and look and actually go to somebody and watch them reload, ideally. Because you can get a single-stage, low-end press and everything you need for one price, $200 or $300 or something. But then you get started right away. Oh, this is great. I'm loading my own ammo, but it's slow. Then you visit somebody's house that has a Dillon Progressive, and you're thinking, oh man, facepalm. Why didn't I get one of those for $200 more?
The assembly line.
Yeah, so you really want to study it, and you're almost better off to save up a few more bucks before you get into it. Just word to the wise.
We had a listener ask us on Facebook. He's wanting to start reloading, but he's wanting to get a machine that can handle 40, 223, 556, and hopefully 12 gauge 3.5 inch. Is that possible, or is he looking at 2 machines instead of just one?
Okay, he wanted to load those pistol and rifle caliber and 12 gauge, you said?
Yep.
I'm not aware of any presses that will do shotgun shells along with rifle and pistol.
That you're more...
You need
Are
a
there
different
shotgun
kind.
presses?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yes. Yeah,
Gotcha.
they're all... Now, with shotgun presses, depending on how much he's going to load, you can get those more reasonably, really, I would say. I've got a MEC, MEC. That's kind of the standard for those. Although Dillon makes some hot shot, I think, progressive shotgun reloader for a lot of bucks if you're, competing at the skeet ranges or something. But MEC has 6 or 8 different levels. You can go to their website. That's what I bought. I bought an H&K or a Benelli shotgun back in '89. It didn't like field loads. That's the only reason I started loading, because I couldn't just go buy shotgun shells anywhere to shoot in. I just wanted field loads for competition. And so I had to load. My load is just a little bit warmer. It just had to have a little bit warmer round, but I didn't want high brass expensive stuff to compete with. And so that's the only reason I got into it. It's really not hard at all. But you can get a press that will load rifle rounds and pistol rounds. The Dillons, the 550B will do both of those. Dillon, for example, makes what is that? They've got their kind of their entry level progressive press. I forget the model number, the Junior or something. It's a great press for a pistol round, but it uses a different die. You'd want to think through before you got that one. But a lot of people have it and like it, but you can't load rifle rounds on it. Once you get to the 550, though, you can load anything, and it uses all standard dies.
Sure.
Do you know the cost difference between the two?
I think haven't priced them for a long time. It used to be about $150 difference, something like that.
This gets into another one of our listeners, Richard J. Basically, he was asking, and you addressed it for the most part there. It says, right now, all I shoot is 9mm, and my wife shoots 40. Is there a different level style of press you would recommend for a beginner if they only are doing handguns versus handguns and rifles versus only reloading for rifles? So you just kind of addressed it right there.
Yeah, you could get that lower end. And again, I don't mean to just tout Dillon, but that's the one I'm most familiar with. And
I would get that 550, the one you're talking about. Then that way you're not limited, and if you decide you want to do rifle,
and you're more likely to be able to use dies that you might find somewhere at a yard sale or any dies that you want to. And then you might load a rifle round. It will load rifle.
I mean, you see people on the internet all the time getting out of the reloading and selling their their equipment for dirt cheap. So
that's true. It's out there. I load 4570 on a Dillon Progressive. That tells you anything about what a redneck I am. I mean, when I load them, I crank them out, and it's funny. I go from 9mm on that same press. Well, I got 2 of them, but the same model. Yeah. And I'm cranking those big 4570 rounds with a 400 grain bullet.
You got one set up for specific kind of, and then you've got another one, so you don't have to be changing them out.
It's a luxury. I have 2 of them so that I don't have to change out the primer feeder. Because some rounds require a large pistol or large primer, and others require a small primer. So I never have to change out my primer feeders.
We have a listener that wanted to know if you spray ballistol on your reloading dies to prevent rust.
Actually I do. Yeah. Actually, I lubricate my presses with it. I sure do.
Also, the same guy, Michael J., wants to know if you know when the primer ferry is going to visit North America again.
No, I really don't. I was fortunate to have some stocked up. I've not really shopped for it. Although at gun shows and places I have been lately, I'm thinking I've seen primers in most configurations, small pistol, large pistol. It just depends on, I guess, where people live. I think I'm seeing primers where I'm not shopping for them. I'm not 100% sure, but I think I'm seeing most of the thing. Now, it's not cheap. You see some high prices on them at times.
What about reloading brass you've already reloaded once and shot again? Is that possible? Does it put stress on the brass? Or?
For your average pistol round, it's really not the problem. There's not much stress on the brass. Over time, some of them will stretch a little bit, and you might have to trim them. I rarely encounter that.
Gotcha.
I have a lot of brass in all my calibers, and the way I operate is if one gets to where it doesn't fit It won't go into the shell plate smoothly or it acts up at all. I look at it and toss it. I just throw it away. But it's really rare that you have to do that. There's not that much pressure with 45 ACP, 40, 9, all that. If you get a bad piece of brass, throw it away is what I do.
Now, along those same lines, and I may say this word wrong, but Matt W. writes, correct me if I'm wrong, annealing, ANNEALING?
Yeah, that has to do with heating, I think heat treating the brass and
Said something about shooting them X amount of times to relieve the stress in the case mouth?
Yeah, and I'm not familiar with that. One thing I have really never gotten into is loading necked cases.
Okay.
Again, I'm a kind of a volume shooter. I've always shot a lot, and if it's a rifle round, which it's probably going to be if it's a necked case, unless it's a 357 SIG or something like that, 4440. I just don't shoot enough of them. One reason I got into military rifles years ago and enjoyed them, a lot of reasons, but, you can find surplus ammo and there's lots of ammo around, and, how much you going to shoot? Why reload AK-47 rounds, and
right.
Even 223 in the past. Now it's gotten so expensive, it makes some sense. But a rifle cartridge, for one thing, a rifle cartridge does require, I think, a little more precision. You've got higher pressures, generally going for more accuracy maybe. So it's a little more delicate and just requires maybe a little more precision. And that's just never been a part of my game. And then resizing a necked case, it's a little more ticklish. I just let other people do that. So that's kind of what that one's getting into.
What about subsonic rounds?
Loading subsonic rounds?
Yeah, is that something advisable? Or
Well, you can do that. It depends on the caliber and what it requires to do it. If it's going to function the gun. For example, I load 147 grain 9mm rounds, as I was saying earlier. Those are just by definition subsonic, because when you get a bullet that heavy, you're only going to be able to get enough powder in there and push it to basically a subsonic load. So when we have people come by with suppressors in 9mm, it's nice because I usually have some of that loaded up for it.
Yeah. The reason I'm asking is I'm trying to get into the 300 blackout.
Yeah.
And my only hesitation right now is the lack of ammo, and that's the reason why I'm considering getting into reloading. Is just for the 300 blackout at this point.
Yeah, you could do that. That would be wise if you're going to
you can use
much. No, you're interested in a suppressor,
right?
Okay,
right.
Yeah,
because you can use the 223-556 casing, right?
You got to trim it, cut it off.
Right.
I think it's too long. I believe the way it is, but you could. Yeah, there are people who do that. You can cut it down and then you can load. Yeah, you could load a heavy bullet. Most of the subsonic 300 blackout ammo I think I've purchased or that was given to us was 220 grain bullets, so you just have to look up the proper load for it.
Yeah,
you could do that.
Just get a 30 cal bullet.
Yeah, 30 cal. I think it uses the same as a 308, 7.62.
Yeah.
Have you ever done any of the crazy shotgun loads like you see on the? Is it? I say it wrong every time, and I was on
TN Outdoors 9 did the Dragon's Breath, or what is it called?
No, I'm talking about like the ones like where they put crazy things in there, like M&Ms or whatever. Taufledermaus. That's what it is. Taufledermaus. I think
German, isn't it?
Yeah, there's some people that do. Yeah, I've never done that. The only thing I've done is load black powder in them when I was doing cowboy shooting, and that's pretty dramatic.
You've not loaded an incendiary round?
No. Those black powder loads are pretty incendiary.
I bet.
Oh man, you load up
depleted uranium shell.
Well, I tell you touch those things off, they're pretty dramatic. But,
I can imagine.
Yeah.
Jordan D asks, know anything about U.S. or foreign sniper reloading for custom loads? I know we don't use standard federal for long distance accuracy.
Or sniper rounds and that kind of thing.
I guess that's what he's...
Again, I'm not very up on that.
Yeah.
Like I say, that's the one area one of the areas in reloading, hand loading, I've really not delved into. I did load some... I say I don't load necked cartridges. I did load some 243 back for some varmint hunting in the early 70s, and I guess that's the last time I did any of that.
It's been a minute, hasn't it?
Yeah, I don't shoot enough of it. It's much easier to go buy a couple of boxes if that's all you're going to shoot a year,
Yeah.
Which is about the cost of the dies or less. So
I guess with these guys being in the service, they probably shoot quite a bit.
And that's a big area of hand loading. That is one definitely. With a 308, for example, with some carefully constructed hand loads. It's incredible the accuracy people are getting out of that. There's some great bullets, a spear. What's that? It's what I want to say, boat. I don't know. I can't think of the name of it, but there's some, and the people who do that know what they are. There's some great rounds out there and great bullets and bullet weights for both the 5.56 and the 308 that with the right powder and case, you can get the ultimate in accuracy, basically.
We were talking about the spear. Can you get the different specialty bullets like the Critical Duty, TN Outdoors 9's favorite, the Zombie Max, stuff like that to load yourself, or is that only stuff you can get manufactured?
No, a lot of that you can. It used to be you could not. But I've noticed in the last 8 or 10 years, that stuff seems to be available.
Nice.
I don't know that all of it is, but I know that we have a store out here in Mount Juliet at the Reloaders Bench, and you can walk in there and they've got ammo cans full of all the bullet heads.
Sure.
And they'll have, I think, Gold Dot. They have Golden Saber. At least in the past they have had, just ammo to take home and load. Now, I don't know why people would load a lot of hollow points, especially where they're more expensive, because most experts are going to advise you not to carry hand-loaded ammunition for defense.
Then we have one more kind of crazy question. Came from a listener, 1988 Glaser Safety Slug, or Glaser Safety Slug.
Glaser Safety Slug.
Yeah, 1988 Glaser Safety Slug, and he wants to know, what is your favorite pinup calendar in your reloading room?
This sounds like 10 Outdoors 9.
I don't know what you're talking about.
So you didn't seem too surprised by that.
Yeah, that's right. That's well, my favorite pinup calendar is Dylan. Yeah, I need to update that thing too. Oh yeah, Glaser Safety Slug. Some of your listeners might be familiar with those. 10 Outdoors 9 was at my place, and I guess it was 88. And trying some of those out of a 357, it was I think a model 686, and that's something that is it's related to reloading, because if you load a really light, fast bullet, it changes the point of impact.
Right.
So you have to decide all that. If you're going to hand load, do you want to load a heavy bullet? I chose a heavier 9mm bullet because I was competing a lot at the time, and I wanted something that would knock over the steel pepper poppers more reliably than some of the lighter 9s. And so, you just have to decide what you want, what you're going to be doing. But anyway, these Glaser Safety Slugs are, I don't remember what the weight on the things is. It's one of those high-tech, one of the first ones of that genre, I guess. It's probably the bullet, they were 357, probably like a 80 grain bullet or something, really light for that caliber, but screaming. Well, we put a milk jug full of water on the target stand right there, almost the same target stand, same place. And 10 Outdoors 9 gets back there on the drive where he takes careful aim and shoots at that thing, and it shoots about a foot low, And of course, these rounds were like, at that time, with a lot of money, like $1.50 a shot or something,
Right.
And
still a lot of money.
Now a regular 9mm is $1.50 a shot. Yeah. So I said, man, you better move up some. These are expensive missiles. He missed a couple of times and kept moving up, and finally he got up about half the distance and hit the thing. But it wasn't his fault, as much as I'd like to blame it on him, but it was a really low point of impact.
So talk about safety precautions that people need to be aware of when they're getting into reloading.
Yeah. Again, as I mentioned earlier, if you are a bull in the china shop, you might think twice about getting into it. You want to be careful. You want to be deliberate. It's something you want to study. You never want to get in a hurry with it. Take your time. Yeah, it's best not to have a quart of beer there while you're reloading. Cigarette, campfire, any of that kind of thing. Take your time with it, study it, and go slow. And again, in terms of safety, you want to carefully measure your charges. Periodically check your powder measure and make sure it's still dropping the same charge. The new ones, and like the Dillon powder measures, I really got to where I rarely ever check them. They just don't ever move on me. But, those are the kinds of things you want to check.
So
also,
what could happen? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. What could happen if somebody put the wrong powder load in? They overdid it.
Well, of course, that's the...
it's going to be out, but,
Yeah, that's the big danger, is getting the wrong charge in there, getting too much powder or too little powder.
Right.
And one is almost as bad as the other. Some guns, most guns these days are well built. They will withstand an excessive charge sometimes, but you're familiar with a squib load syndrome, maybe, where those rounds where you don't get any powder in can be dangerous, because a primer quite often is enough without any powder to push the bullet into the barrel. And so now on a semi-automatic, you're in a match or you're somewhere shooting fast. Oh, what happened? I thought I had a round in the chamber, and it just clicks. That's the thing. That's the danger of a squib load. Generally, it just clicks. There's no sound at all, so you think it was an empty chamber, but you got a bullet lodged in the barrel. So you rack the slide and shoot again. Not good.
Ouch.
Blow your barrel up.
Big ouch, yeah. And then, of course, a double charge is the other side of that you could have if you run the thing through the press twice. And experienced reloaders rarely have difficulties with any of that. It's not. I mean, it's the kind of thing if you haven't reloaded, you think, wow, that could really happen easily, and it could if you're not paying close attention. Just like you could shoot your foot if you're not paying close attention.
Exactly.
But those are the two sides of that you really got to watch. Another issue when you're in the reloading room, you want to have a clear head. You just don't reload. Don't go to the presses unless you're ready to focus on that.
Don't multitask.
Yeah, you're not doing 49 different things. Yeah. It is a very relaxing endeavor. It's a lot of fun. So enjoy. Turn the radio on and just take your time with it and don't get in a hurry because. There are a lot of things you could do that would not be good, but once you get your system, you get your die set, and you got the right brass, and just like if you're setting up and you're changing over to a different caliber or you're getting ready to load, it's with anything else, you just want to make sure you're about ready to load some 44 Magnum, for example. Make sure you've got 44 caliber bullets you're about to load, and you've got the right primers and all that kind of thing. And you'll know quickly if you don't on most of that. And double check, just like a doctor or a nurse would do. You double and triple check what they're putting in the hypodermic. You do the same thing in the reloading room. You double and triple check. Okay, now is this the powder I use for 44 Magnum? Double check my records. Yeah, is this my load I'm using? 6.3 grains of this. Yes, this is it. 2400 or unique or whatever I'm using. Yes, this is what I load. Everything is right. Let's slowly, get started. So just be deliberate. And it's not rocket science. It's just something you have to be careful with.
I would think that you kind of want to do it in a climate-controlled environment as well, not too humid, I would think. Just
ideally,
logically.
I tell you though,
powder getting
it's not essential. It's not essential because most of the reloading I've done over the years in my barn, it's all pretty durable. It really is. I'll check the powder if I've got a powder measure with some powder in it that I've not used in a while. Yeah. I'll double check it. If it's sometimes even if it's caked up a little bit, I'll shake it up and go ahead and load with it. Does fine. I mean, generally the stuff you're loading is for the range. It's for practice range. Just plinking.
If you get a big old sweat drop in one of your,
When I was competing regularly every week, I'd be a little more careful. I would also gauge every round. I don't do that as much now. They make little go no go gauges. And you load 9 if it'll go in. So you can use your barrel for that too, but these little go no go gauges are handy. So I would gauge every single round and put them in a separate, I'd call it match ammo, 9 or 40 or 45. At least that eliminated one problem. If you because you use brass over and over, and I don't sort brass. I have 40 different kinds of brass, in a pile of ammo. Yeah. But at least I know all of them are going to chamber okay.
Pretty crucial for competition.
Well, yeah, I mean, nobody's going to die, but you're, you mess up. If you get a bad round and something happens,
you don't want anything.
It kills you that whole stage. Yeah. When you're trying to compete for first or second place, one problem on any stage and you're out of the running. So you try to eliminate all the possibilities.
You don't have to answer this one because you went over cost savings, but somebody just posted, can you speak to the relative cost savings of shooting watermelons and pumpkins with reloads versus factory manufactured ammunition? That's pretty good. Thank you, Richard J.
Yeah, that's pretty good. You save money no matter what you're shooting, whether it's watermelons or anything else.
Richard J. is full of a lot of questions.
Yeah, he's had a few.
And pumpkin carving, does he reload to get more control in his carving?
Actually, no, I guess. Let's see, what do I carve pumpkins with? I've done with an AK. I don't reload AK rounds. Glock 40, those are factory ammo. So, most of the time, I tell you, here I am pretending to be an expert on reloading, and I've been so busy in the last few years with this project that I have not done as much, reloading as I used to do. I used to reload every weekend, and a couple of times, I was always reloading. That's one thing that has fallen by the wayside to some extent. I don't.
So we
get
might
to
be
reload.
able to get a good deal on a press.
No, that's one of my goals here now. Giving up one job, I want to have more time to reload. Hopefully,
Nice. I got a question. Are there any other kind of presses other than those two? I mean, are there
Aggressive
more,
and single stage?
even a step up beyond that, more automated?
well, there's again, I'm more familiar with Dylan, but I know like I have the 550Bs. They are progressive presses. You actually index the shell plate yourself. I like that. You can actually back it up if you want to. Did I get powder in that? You can actually move it back. You got more
Spot
flexibility
check it, yeah.
with it, Then the 650 indexes itself. You have a little bit less control, but then again, once you get cranking, it may be a little faster. All you do is set the bullet on. Mm-hmm. And then the 650 is a little it's more deluxe in other ways. You can put a case feeder on it. And I think they even make a bullet feeder. Somebody does. Maybe
Wow.
that's for the 1050. I don't know. But there are attachments you can put on these things where you're essentially doing nothing but working the handle.
Yeah.
It may be the 1050, which is their top of the line. I think it sells for close to $2,000 by the time you get everything on it. And it's more their commercial grade machine. But you can actually set it up so you're doing nothing but cranking the handle.
So I would think Artisan Tony could trade in his printing press for a
Yeah, there you
nice
go.
automated
His 3D
reloading.
printer.
Yeah, press.
Before I go
What is
into
our
the trivia, there's something I remembered a minute ago that I wanted to talk about with my weekend guns, and since trivia is usually pop culture,
Go
somehow
right
related.
ahead. This is our show. We can do whatever we want to.
That's right.
Talk about
Word of advice. I am actually, I was tempted to put them on the jackwagon train, the people that made the Lone Ranger movie.
Yeah.
Don't ruin it.
Don't
ruin it
go
for
see
everybody.
it. Don't even go see it.
Really?
It's that bad. The first half of the movie, Lone Ranger doesn't believe in guns.
All right, you're ruining
then
it.
when he finally gets a gun, he's a bumbling idiot, and it's the
All right,
it's the
you've ruined
Tonto show. No, I'm telling you to save your money.
That's right.
And
I saw it.
Is
It's
it
like,
the Tonto or the Jack Sparrow?
well, yeah, it's the not drunk
I've
Jack
heard-
Sparrow.
I've heard that too.
That's about what it is.
It's
So you
kind of
saw
like
it too, Hickok?
Yeah.
I'm sitting there watching. I'm going, this isn't the Lone Ranger I grew up with. This is garbage. Now,
To the jacked it up like they've done Superman the last couple of times.
yeah, to the point where if Johnny Depp's Tonto was not in that movie, I would have walked out halfway through it. The third time that Lone Ranger goes, I don't believe in guns, I would have been like,
know.
just see ya.
You're
And then
right.
it was the last shot he shot where he actually was his dead eye aim that he always was.
Oh no.
It was like, what is this? And then the other bad things. I'm sick of lazy Hollywood. They stole. I don't know if either one of y'all watch Hell on Wheels, the TV show.
I
I've
saw
watched
one
a
episode. I think.
couple of the first.
They stole that whole storyline of the railroad guy who's either some British.
Was it the
Native
same guy?
Irish.
The
No, it wasn't the
Star
same guy,
Trek
but it was
guy?
pretty close. And then he kind of does this hostile takeover of the railroad. Wow, that's Hell on Wheels. They even had a city he went to called Hell on Wheels.
Did they really?
They stole. Have you ever seen Planet Terror by Robert Rodriguez? Well, there's a brothel owner prostitute that is missing a leg, and she makes a gun for her leg.
Oh,
They
yeah, I've
stole
seen that.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen that.
I'm like,
She's
you
got
gotta be kidding me.
The AR-15
Yeah.
leg. Well, what's her name? That plays Rose.
She
not
was,
Rosie.
she was
though.
married to Marilyn
Rosario.
Manson for a while.
Yeah.
Rose McGowan.
Yeah, McGowan.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
And then so they did this with Helena Bonham Carter and the Lone Ranger. I'm like, what is this? I was so
all
mad.
Johnny Depp movies too.
Yeah.
What's up with that?
And they're usually good together. And they were good together in this, but it was the story and the movie itself, which is, there was kind of this cool moment where he went from kind of this anti-gun thing to his brother told him, the bad guys don't care if you're anti-gun or not.
Right.
And you kind of see him mentally go into this moment, but still, that's not the Lone
They
Ranger.
prefer you to be anti-gun.
Yeah.
the
That's
bad
right.
guys do.
Because Johnny Depp is very pro-gun. Very, very pro-gun.
And he's a
But-
great actor.
He's an Indian,
he
too.
was-
I have
yeah.
grown
Got a
to
little
really
bit
enjoy
Indian.
him. I'm not crazy about those pirate movies, but he is a great actor.
He really
Public
is.
Enemies.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
man.
Very good.
I love it. My problem with these modern movies, and of course I'm an old guy, old school, but I think we'd be better off if the computers had never gotten into the movies.
Yeah.
You go to a movie and there's no plot in a lot of them. It's
Right.
just all the
Special
CGI,
effects.
special
Right.
effects goes on for, what was it, Superman, or I don't know. There's another movie I saw recently, but it was like, I told John he hadn't seen it. I said, well, you'll probably like it because you have more tolerance for this kind of thing. But the middle hour of the movie was just nothing but things being destroyed. Yeah, it was Superman.
Yeah.
It was like an hour of him fighting those other, super beings, throwing each other into buildings and tearing everything up. Well, after 5 minutes of that, that's enough.
You got the point.
Yeah, I got the point. But, it's just all CGI.
I'll have to say, though, CGI really did World War Z justice.
Oh, that movie was amazing.
Yeah, it is wonderful stuff.
phenomenal.
That was pretty good. Yeah.
That's probably one of the better movies I've seen in the theaters recently.
Yeah, that's right. That one was okay.
Yeah.
So, trivia question from last week. In the Carnicon video, where it's AR-15 versus AK-47, what is the proper way, according to Carnicon, to mount optics on an AK-47? Which the answer was using SpongeBob SquarePants tape.
Duct tape. And a lot of it.
Yep. And the winner of that was Chad D. He's the one who said woohoo at the end of the email. So I guess he was excited about the SpongeBob tape.
Yeah, we had a lot of people that chimed in on that one. So that was cool.
Have you seen any of Carnicon's videos?
I don't think I have.
Oh.
Don't think I have.
Make sure you use the restroom first
before you leave.
He's pretty fun. Yeah, we'll show you later. He's funny. Funny guy and a great guy too. This week's trivia, in the Hickok45 parody video we did, who was the leader of all the, I'm putting this in quotations, fake zombies that we had set up? So who was the leader of all those fake zombies? Let us know what that one is.
Okay.
So it's time for facts to fight the myths. So Hickok, you are our guest.
Okay.
What's your fact to fight the myth?
Well, I had a couple. I think since we're talking about reloading, I was going to talk a little bit maybe about how I had some personal experience that in some ways breaks the myth of at least what people used to worry about a lot. And that was getting any little speck of oil or water on your ammo that you would contaminate the primer. Be bad. I did some experimentation. This is before YouTube. This is prior even to internet days, I think. I was going to write a magazine article. This was probably mid to late 80s.
That is prior to internet.
Yeah, really.
Write something.
I was. I did one magazine article after that, actually in Florida, but not on this topic. It used to be more prevalent in the gun rags. You would read articles about that and cautions about, and people back then were using WD-40 a lot, just whatever they're using to keep it off the ammo, totally away from the ammo. And so I filled 2 or 3 jars with WD-40 and hoppy. I'd mixed up all that brew, and
did a nice
salt
cocktail.
Yeah, really. And I poured ammo in there, some factory ammo, and then some reloads in one, and just a mixture, and screwed on the lids and put the date on it, and took pictures. I just never did do it.
So you had a nice
I set it
science
aside.
project going
I even
there,
put some in bags and put it in the freezer. Put it in oil and then put it in the freezer. Everything I could think of, Put some in the gun and soak the gun chamber. You soak the chambers on a 357, soak the ammo, stuck it in there, and put it aside for a while. And just seeing if it was all going to be duds. And literally, that ammo soaked for months, and just about every round fired. Normally.
Were you scared?
Wow.
Yeah, really did.
Were you scared when you were doing it?
I mean, it was under controlled situation. I thought, okay, I could have a squib,
Yeah.
So I was ready for it. Even the hand loads, even some just plain old 45 cast bullet hand loads, I didn't have any trouble with. Yeah. Now, all that said, it's not a total myth. You don't want to get oil on your carry ammo,
right.
And I avoid doing that. But just
worst case
just be
scenario,
aware if you get a drop on your.
If you're in an oil
ammo.
Field and you hit pay dirt and
You're probably
and somebody
okay.
tries to steal your claim.
Most ammo is sealed and it's crimped, and you're probably okay if you brush by a bottle of oil.
If you look at a lot of the gun tests that they do, where they're throwing the guns in the water and through the ice and all that, and they pull them out and they're shooting them.
Shooting with what was in that gun when they did that.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's sealed better than most people realize.
So mine this week is the myth being reloaders storing powder are creating a fire and explosive hazard in their homes. This is false. So the fact to fight that myth of you creating a bomb factory in your house from storing that, what happened was some cities have ordinances based on how much black powder you can store, which black powder does tend to be a little more volatile, I'm assuming.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
So there are some ordinances in some cities that have that, and people have taken that and go, oh, well, it's the same with all gunpowder. And smokeless powder, if you've stored in the proper container, are relatively safe.
Yeah. Most people, the propane tank on their grill is more dangerous than any powder they've got in their house.
Sure.
You know? I mean, not that either is dangerous, but, as far as volatile and everything.
So, Left Hand, what's your fact to fight the myth?
All right, here's my fact to fight the myth. Shooting a lot of jacketed rounds will wear your barrel out. What do you think about that, Hickok? True or false?
True or false? Well,
I mean, yeah,
you talk about a
shoot
pistol,
thousands and thousands and thousands around.
Yeah, not many people are going to
everything's
shoot enough to wear it. Now, I think with like a 223 or something, 556, but you're not going to shoot cast bullets in that anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah, you'd have to shoot way more ammunition than anybody can do to notice any difference, I think. If you're shooting enough jacketed rounds to wear out a handgun barrel, you're spending so much money on ammo that you wouldn't notice even having to replace that barrel.
You can go get another gun.
You can go buy lots of guns.
And they've got more time on their hands.
Yeah.
So that's my myth.
So you want to answer a couple of listener questions just about Hickok45?
Sure.
Got a couple.
Sure, I'll try.
Did you say now? Do your requests get as outlandish as some of 22 Plinksters?
Not necessarily outlandish. Just requests for almost every firearm that's out there.
What's the most ridiculous request you've had?
No.
First thing comes to mind.
Well, a minigun, things like that.
Yeah.
Or a tank. But
Tank.
But by and large, 99.9% of them are just of a different gun that they haven't seen yet. Because we have so many different guns, so much variety that they don't understand why you haven't done something you haven't had done.
Maybe like this guy, Mark I, wants to know, can you review the Rossi Ranch Hand 44 mag or 357 mag? Is that something you've ever done?
We might do that sometime when we get a hold of one. We did the NC silencer, brought by one, but that was kind of a different sort of animal. The fellow had put a standard stock on it, which made it an SBR. And he had a silencer rig on it. Now, if you've seen that video, it started out as a ranch hand, put a regular stock on it. So then you got a short barrel lever gun, and then he had the barrel threaded for a suppressor. So it's pretty. John Wayne would have loved it, right?
Speaking of threaded barrels, I threaded my 9 Kel-Tec Sub 2000.
Oh, right. You're ready for a can, huh?
I'm ready for a can now.
All right.
For that one. So here's a fan question for you. From one of your fans.
Okay.
Me.
Okay.
Are you going to be reviewing the 300 Blackout?
You're not much of a fan. You haven't seen that video. He just put his foot in his mouth, didn't he?
I did. Did you do the suppressed?
Yeah, we've done suppressed too.
You did the AAC?
Yeah. Go to the channel and
edit this
search.
out.
No. Go to the channel. That's all right. No, we have 800 and some videos. Nobody's
watch them all.
Nobody's seen them all. But yeah, go to the channel and just.
I'm sure there's somebody.
300 Blackout, and because I didn't know you didn't know that. I got into that. Couple of years ago, I read about it. And I thought, this is cool. Same bolt and everything, same magazines.
What's your opinion of the 300 Blackout round?
I like it because for a long time I've wanted I've thought it'd be cool to have an AR that fired the AK round, the 7.62 by 39.
Right.
Every time I would ask somebody about it, an upper or the magazines, the magazines aren't real reliable. It just didn't seem very popular for several reasons. So this Blackout, 300 Blackout, there's the answer, because it's basically an AK in terms of ballistics, the 7.62 by 39 ballistically. You use the same magazines and bolt and everything. All you do is change out the barrel. Now I bought an whole upper. I didn't want to be changed out a barrel, but I've got an upper, and I just pop it on and shoot the things. I had when we did it, got access to a suppressor through NC Silencer. So yeah, we've had some fun with it in videos, suppressed and non-suppressed, and
that's not the one we're shooting that big blue
barrel.
Barrel, is it?
I think we shot a barrel with it in one.
I may have seen it. Yeah,
maybe. Yeah, we've done some with it with the slide fire stock, and
I haven't seen that.
Messed around with it. Yeah, but it's kind of neat. I don't really shoot it a lot. I don't know why, but it's cool.
You had some full autos that you were shooting suppressed.
Yeah.
In some of your videos here.
Yeah,
recently.
we've had visits from NC Silencer and also Silencer Co. Came by a few weeks ago. So we've had some M16 action that's not been posted yet. And of course the MP5 and some stuff.
I was going to ask what you got coming up that people can look forward to. So,
got some of that M16
sweet.
and we've got some more of the MP5 we've not posted and some different things. I've got some neat old Enfield or a model 1917 bolt gun, World War I rifle, some things like that we've not posted yet.
Cool.
A couple other goodies.
Good deal.
Some more pot smoking. Flower pots.
Yeah.
Some new targets to shoot to add to your...
Depends on how stale they are. See, I might just eat those tonight.
You might eat them on the way home, yeah.
I might just eat those.
We're going to watch a video in a few weeks.
You can at least shoot the numbers.
He's going to be wiping the icing off going, well, Talking Lead gave me some targets, but they're gone.
That's right.
His fingers.
We've got plenty of targets, but we don't have many cupcakes.
So we've got some new listener feedback. So you want to take the first one, Hickok?
You're assuming I can read. Let's see. This is from Dirty Bird 2013. A couple of weeks ago, I stumbled across your podcast. It is my favorite podcast by far. Man, this guy needs to get a life. You guys are knowledgeable as well as funny. What does he know? I'm learning a lot.
Fool, don't we?
I'm learning. So you won't want me to read these again. I'm learning a lot from listening to you guys. This guy he gets funnier all the time. I'm learning a lot from listening to you guys and frantically catching up on your older shows. It also helps that you are from the state of Tennessee. Keep up the great work.
You want to take the next one, Left Hand?
Yeah, so Dr. Joe says, great podcast. Looks like we got 5 stars. Is that what that is?
Mm-hmm.
Super podcast with very interesting guest.
There is another funny one.
Peculiar, maybe, not interesting. Huh? I look forward to each episode and learn something every episode. Too bad Left Hand has to have a girly whistle on his knife. Just kidding. You know how many times that saved my butt? Literally. Teologic's where it's at, Hickok. You need to get one.
Oh, yeah. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Then we had one on YouTube. We rarely ever get a review on YouTube, more just comment. Randall F. writes, you guys need to put out more videos and more podcasts. I ran dry. Listen to every single one of your podcasts.
Ran dry.
And now I'm sad. No more Zeke and Left Hand. Wah. Keep up with the great work, guys. Love you. And all you guys, your checks are in the mail.
Yeah. So this guy listened to all your podcasts and got really sad. Is that what he said?
Yes. It made him depressed.
What's funny is if you read that, it says, I ran dry, listened to every single one of your episodes, and now I'm sad. And then, no more Zeke and Left Hand. We'll probably get a lot of agreements. Yes, no more Zeke and Left Hand, please.
Yeah. All right, guys, real quick, we have a guest call in. We have Mark Lee from Friends of the NRA. How are you doing, Mark?
Doing fine, sir. I'm actually doing great.
Awesome. Tell us a little bit about Friends of the NRA.
Well, Friends of the NRA is a 501c3 charitable organization, and our mission is to educate youth and gun safety, just shooting sports. We're here in Nashville. We're a local chapter, and we raise money through banquets. We have a banquet July the 19th on Friday. It's at 5:30 p.m. at the American Legion Club in Elm Hill Pike in Nashville.
Okay.
We'll have a silent auction, a dinner, a very nice dinner, and a live auction.
And with the banquet that's coming up, how much does it cost? Where do they need to go to sign up?
The tickets are $30 a ticket. The whole table is 6 feet, and that's $180.
Okay.
You can go to www.friendsofnra.org. Once you get onto that website, look up events and select the state of Tennessee, and you'll see Nashville, Tennessee for July the 19th, and there's a place there for you to buy a ticket. Or you can go to Guns for America over on Powell Avenue in Nashville. They have tickets available. So Steve Murray Jewelers at the intersection of Murfreesboro Road and Bell Road.
Okay. So are y'all going to be doing any kind of raffle, door prize, wall of guns, anything along those lines?
Well, one of the games that we have is a wall of guns. We'll have a game, and there are 50 different guns that the person can win. Person that wins each game, they sell 50 tickets, and once those tickets are sold, draw a name, and that person wins his or her choice of the weapon, one of the weapons on that wall. We're also giving away a Smith & Wesson 38 revolver with a laser sight that night for being at our bank.
Nice. Very nice. And we know Left Hand won the wall of guns when we were at NRA. He got to pick out 2 guns, actually.
You did. You
Yep.
did. And I'm hoping that you guys will decide to get a couple of tickets and come to our banquet Friday night.
Most definitely. Most definitely. So, Mark, you're the chairman of the Nashville chapter. That's correct?
Yes, sir. I'm the chairman of the Nashville Friends of NRA.
Okay. And if somebody wanted to find out a little bit more information about this chapter, how would they get a hold of you?
Well, they can contact me at 615-596-8964, or they can send me an email. It's marklee33@bellsouth.net.
Thank you very much, Mark.
Yes.
So remember, if you are in the Middle Tennessee area, in the Nashville area, and you'd like to go to that Friends of NRA banquet, it is next Friday, the 19th at 5:30, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right.
And it's a fantastic evening.
They are supposed to be fun, and I can't wait to go. I'm looking forward to it.
I hope to see you there. I'll be there.
I hope you'd be there, being the chairman.
Oh yes, I'm there, and it's just a fun evening. We let loose and have a lot of fun at those banquets.
Great organization. Make sure you check them out at friendsofnra.org. Mark, thanks again for calling in, and we will see you next Friday.
Thank you, sir, and you have a great day.
So we want to thank our sponsors once again, Firearms Radio Network, firearmsradio.tv, our bandwidth sponsors.
All or Nothing Tattoo, Brandon Bond, he's the shiznit, allornothingtattoo.com.
And their gear store, strangleholdmerch.com, for some cool art, pro gun stuff. And Holder and Green Professional Real Estate Services, HG Press. And the phone number is
1-800-615-1840, extension 222.
And also, TG Promotions put up our store, tgpromotions.net, and our store is on our website, www.talkingled.com. Thanks, Hickok, for coming out again. We enjoyed it. You're welcome
Appreciate
anytime.
you hanging out with us on your birthday.
Appreciate y'all inviting me. I had
Of course,
fun.
today's not your birthday, though, is it?
We missed it.
No, I enjoy hanging out with you guys. It makes me feel smarter.
We just make you look smarter, don't we?
And make sure you go to the YouTube and check out Hickok45, all one word.
You do a little podcast, too, don't you?
Yeah, kind of a podcast. We call it a radio
I don't say
show.
little, but yeah.
we post one of those every now and then. I just go out the reloading room and chat with viewers, and fun. Very relaxed.
They go to the YouTube channel for that, too, or is there a different...
Right. I haven't put that anywhere except, as YouTube partners, our focus is everything on YouTube right now. We might do something different with some of it at some point, but right now, just keep things simple. It's all on YouTube.
And, man, thank you for the
Yes.
Glock mag. That's awesome.
Thank you very much.
Right.
That was very generous.
Just don't let Diane Feinstein see that.
Yes.
Well, I'm actually going to take a picture and send it to her and gloat. Because they're not illegal.
On Tennessee.
And as always, left hand, keep your loved ones close.
And your firearms closer.